And I was so intrigued with this book, Shawnee. Really, it's a fast read. It's very interesting. And you go back into the Bible talking about all the different women and as an example for us to live by.
Right. Well, my intention for writing this book first was to put woman's voice back in the Bible and then to put God back into our bodies.
Oh.
And so what I did in studying the Bible was I uncovered 8 women that are archetypes, that are models for us as we go through the different sexual stages of our lives. So in reading this book, it's discovering our spiritual and sensual selves. And I deal with issues like self-discovery, menstruation, intercourse, marriage, even menopause, widowhood, and eldering, and how through each one of these stages the Bible can speak to us and I make it relevant to how we live our daily lives.
Yes, it's an example that we can all live by, really, and sometimes it's an awakening, because many of us have been brought up with a taboo of sex, which is so wrong. And here you bring us closer to God, bringing the sexuality of oneself as part of God, as a spiritual experience, which is, I think, a beautiful way to live. And let's get rid of that taboo that we've had for so many, many years.
Right, and I think it also, what I'm doing is putting woman's truth back into the words of the Bible. I'm not changing the Bible. Did you want to say?
Well, yes, because I was surprised that there are so many different interpretations that you can have of the Bible, and you can interpret the Bible according to the way you want to see it.
Absolutely. What I did was I took the actual biblical text in Hebrew, and I showed where Hebrew letters that can, with vowels, can be used for different words. You can use the same letters in a word that can mean both bitter or rising.
Yes, I was very surprised at that. And I thought it was a more intelligent way of reading the Bible. The way what you brought out was to show that it can be interpreted in a nicer, better way.
In a way that makes us feel more fulfilled in our own lives, makes us feel more positive and sacred about our own bodies. And when we can feel that way about our own bodies and the issues that women go through in their lives, then we can also take that energy and put it out into the universe, and we feel better with the people with whom we relate. It has a rippling effect, and it starts with being recognized for the truth of who we are, not how some translator in the best of his ability centuries ago thought women were like. But really it's from a woman's point of view. How would I translate these same words? And turning the story around, like using the word rising instead of bitter. You know Naomi, yes, in right. the Bible, the story of Naomi and Ruth. Mm-hmm. And Naomi left as a young woman to seek a better fortune in another land when there was a famine in her land. And when she came back years later and she matured, and the translators say, well, she said, don't call me Naomi, call me Mara, call me bitter. Well, the word Mara can also mean rising. Yes. And what she could be saying is what many women today say as we mature. Don't call me bitter, don't call me old, don't call me a hag. Call me somebody who has risen. I've risen to the occasion of my life. I've arisen, I've awakened to see that there's so much more to life than what I thought when I was younger.
Well, of course, because all that experience builds up in you, and you do change, and you do become a different person where you could have a different name, and you have risen right. above so many things right. that has made you whole now, more of a woman.
And then she teaches Ruth. Isn't yes. that beautiful? She teaches Ruth how to understand a man. Actually, this book, most of the book is on how to understand a woman.
Yes.
And what a woman wants and what we want. But Naomi is what the ancients would call a crone. And crone means one who is crowned.
Yes.
She is the crowned woman in society who understands, after all this experience, that you don't go in like a bull in a china shop when you want to attract a man. You have to go where his feet are. Where's he standing?
Yes, you see, that was a new revelation to me, that she lay down by his feet.
Yes, going through the
Yes.
feet, where someone's standing, not where you want them to be, but appreciate where they're at. And then I go back, and for adolescence, and to the story of Leah. You know, Leah is kind of like the biblical ugly duckling. She wasn't pretty, she wasn't loved, she was despised, given in deception to her husband. And yet, there's something in Leah that no matter what her life was like on the outside, she mustered up on the inside that enabled the beauty to come out. And the rabbis say that whoever saw her rejoiced. Well, you don't rejoice when you see someone depressed, when you see someone homely. You rejoice when that person's beauty from the inside comes out. And so she's a template for young women and women who've never, even in the later years, who've never really explored their own bodies and felt God inside.
Yes, and that's the main thing. You should feel God
Yes,
within you.
absolutely.
And live according to that. And you do bring that out beautifully in this
Yes.
book.
Thank
And
you.
I think every woman should read it, every man too, to understand how a woman feels.
I've had men so far write to me and say, "Thank you for writing this. I can understand my partner much better."
Oh,
And my husband thinks it's, he's also a rabbi, and when he went to seminary as a young boy, he said they taught him sexuality before he understood what sex was all about. And he feels that what I'm doing in this book is I'm giving it an understanding from a woman, and it's just as sacred and holy as what he studied when he was in rabbinical school.
Oh, well, I think it's a beautiful way, and it's a beautiful thing that you're doing. This is, by the way, can you see? This is her husband, Philip, today, and telling us all about your book. It's called God, Sex, and Women of the Bible. And as I said to Shawnee earlier, I said, I think she put a halo over Dr. Ruth.
I love that. I love it.
Thank you very much, and thanks.